Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Our aim is to provide you with information that you would need to plan and execute your online contest. Things are a little different this year. When we started our online contest in the spring for the last Toastmaster year, we did it from area, division, and district level because the clubs had already held in-person meetings before and contests before we were asked to move to online. This will be the first time that clubs will be actually doing online contests. And so what I thought I would do is provide you a sort of checklist to go over so that you are able to plan and execute from a contest chair point of view. And if you have any questions apart from what I'm saying, please feel free to ask that in the chat box, as Ryan said. So to get started right away, I am going to do a before the contest, during the contest, and after the contest kind of process for the presentation. It is similar to how we often do club officer training and other training, so it might help you to get everything streamlined. So before the contest is quite a few things that we have to get done. First of all, we have to know which contests are being held. So a motion was passed on September 12th, saying that in the fall of this Toastmaster year, we are going to have the humorous contest and the table topics contest. This is different from what happened for the previous 2 years, so please make sure that you are conducting the correct contest in the fall, and we will be doing our international speech and evaluation contest in the spring. So for right now, we are going to focus on humorous and table topics contest. The next thing you have to do is set a date. That seems pretty self-explanatory, but the reason I want to talk about it a little bit is because in the fall, there is an implication as to what date you set for your club. Clubs have to have their contests done by October 24th. So that means that if you are setting your contest date between October 1st and October 24th, you have to make sure that your contestants meet the eligibility requirement because a membership renewal will happen between the time span that clubs have. So in total, clubs have to have their contests done between today and October 24th. If you are holding your contest between today and September 30th, everything's good. But if you're holding it from October 1st to the 24th, then you have to make sure that you meet the eligibility requirements for the contest to go forward. Since we're on that, I'm just going to jump to eligibility right now since I'm talking about it. In order for a contestant to compete in the humorous and the table topics contest, they have to be a member in good standing of a club in good standing. What that basically means at the most base level is that the member has to have their dues paid and their name sort of, back on the club roster saying that they've paid for the next Toastmaster period. And a club in good standing means that 8 members have to have paid for a club to be in good standing. Now, if you look in the rule book, and can I say right now that everyone who is attending here, please do read the rule book, regardless of what position you are going to be holding at your club contest. In the rule book, it does specify that within those 8 members that make up a club of good standing, there are some hidden criteria. So for example, out of those 8, one of them has to be the president. One has to be a VP of some sort, and it goes on that way. So if you have 24 members in your club and 8 of them have paid their dues, you're not a club in good standing unless the president, one of the VPs of your club, or the other criteria that's set by Toastmasters International is within that 8. So please take a look at the rule book and it'll tell you absolutely specifically which executive officers need to have been paid. So once your club is in good standing and your member has paid and is in good standing, the contest can go ahead. This is something that clubs need to be really aware of because the fall contest sort of strides across that membership renewal time period. The next thing you have to decide is the length of your contest. Now, because we're doing the humorous and a table topic, it's actually a longer contest and a shorter contest together. The humorous contest will be for contestants to give their speeches, which are 5 to 7 minutes. For table topics, it's 1 to 2 minutes. So when you are planning and you want to set your start and end time, you need to know a couple of things. You need to know how many contestants are participating in the humorous contest and how many contestants are participating in the table topics contest. What I like to do, and this is just me, when I plan contests, I like to keep 10 minutes per contestant in the humorous speech contest. So that includes their 5 to 7 minute speech, the 1 minute of silence in between, and a little bit of extra time in case life goes a little haywire on the day. So if you have 4 contestants that are competing in the humorous speech contest for your club, that's about 40 minutes for that contest. For the table topics contest, which is a shorter contest, the timing is 1 to 2 minutes. But again, I like to round it up to 5 just to take into account the 1 minute of silence in between and a little bit of wiggle time. So again, if you have, I don't know, for easy numbers, if you have 8 contestants in the table topics part of your club contest, then 5 times 8, that's another 40 minutes. So you have 80 minutes of contest time. And then you have to adjust for the other things in between, whether you want to have a break or not in the middle, how much time the introductions is going to take, how much time you want to give the chief judge to go over the rules, and then something else that we need to do in the fall contest, which is acknowledgement of the year awards from the previous year. So all of that together will give your start and end time of your club contest event. So it's almost you have to work backwards. Once you have your bits of information, you can put it all together, work backwards, and have a start and end time. Again, this is just me, but I like to keep like a 3-hour chunk, right from setup all the way to taking stuff down, which we're not going to do online unless you want to, rearrange your living room. But if from beginning to end, if you keep like a 3-hour block and you finish early, then fantastic. So please make sure to sort of do a little bit of math just so that you're not caught out and you're not having to be rushed near the end of your contest. Now, if we were meeting in person, we would pick a venue for our contest. Oftentimes it is where our meetings take place. So if we follow that rule of thumb, meetings that happen online, that would be your venue. But here is a little thing that needs to be kept in our minds. I believe that there are quite a few clubs, if not most of the clubs, that share a meeting Zoom link on a particular night. So again, just to give an example, my home club meets with another club at the same time on a certain night. So we both log on with that one Zoom link. One of the clubs stays in the main room, and then my club meets in a breakout room. If that is happening, you need to be in communication with all the clubs that meet on that one Zoom link on that one particular evening, because chances are you will have to have your contests on different days. And the reason for that is this. In an online contest, you need a breakout room for your club contest. It is where the briefings will take place. It is where the judges and ballot counters will go to tally the results. It will be the place where the table topics contestants will be waiting until it is their turn to speak. So if you have a meeting in a main room, you can create a breakout room. But if your meeting is being held in a breakout room, you cannot have a breakout room from a breakout room. Does that make sense? I'll say it one more time. If you're meeting in a main room in a Zoom link, you can create a breakout room and have your club contest happen. But if you are already meeting in a breakout room, you cannot have another breakout room. So therefore, you don't have the space for your table topics contestants to be waiting, or your judges and ballot counters, and you don't have a space for briefing. If we were meeting in person, that is the place, that is the separate area that we always have. So when we were meeting in person, we met at a library. So we used to book a separate room just for that night to have our separate space. In community centers, it might be an area outside, it might be another room. We don't have the luxury of that here on online contests. So you have to be in communication with the other clubs that meet on the same night as you, using the same Zoom link as you, and see when you can hold your contest. Once you have figured out the date and you've sort of decided, yes, we are going to hold our contest on this day. I know that for some clubs, they don't have unlimited time to hold the contest. It is okay to hold your contest on 2 separate days. If time does not allow you to have both contests on the same evening or the same day, you can split it up and have a humorous contest at one time and then come back on another day for your table topics contest, as long as both contests are done by October 24th. That is a hard deadline, and we need to follow that. You can actually do something right now. You can pick a contest chair, and you can pick a chief judge for your clubs if you have not done so already. The contest chair and the chief judge are basically 2 sides of the same coin. They work together. They just take care of different aspects of the contest, and that's how we're doing our training today. So my presentation is catered more towards the contest chair and their role, and then Marvin will come along later on to talk about the chief judge portion of things. When it comes to contests, I'm a firm believer that as many members as possible should be encouraged to compete. There are no criteria for the humorous and the table topics contest, except that you have to be a member in good standing of a club in good standing. There's no prerequisite that you have to have these many speeches done. It doesn't say that you have to be, there's no other criteria. So if you can encourage your members to try and compete, it's a skill that just you cannot get anywhere else. They get the chance to do something different. It takes them maybe a little out of their comfort zone, but unless a person competes, they really don't understand what goes into competing. It's a different thing when you're watching a contest. It's a whole different ballgame when you're actually participating in competition. So if you can encourage your members to compete, that would be awesome. There is no limit as to how many contestants you can have in either contest. If you are a club of 24 people and 20 people want to compete, good for you. That of course means that you're going to run out of people who will be officials, but please don't worry about that. Our main aim is to get as many contestants as we can to give them the experience of competing. And if that means that you don't have enough members left over to take on the contest official roles, that is when I would ask you to reach out to your area director, and Marvin and I will work with the area directors, the division directors, and the clubs to see if we can help fulfill the roles. But please do encourage as many members as possible to compete. Once you have your contest officials, there's quite a few. So I am going to sort of list off the ones that are taken care of by the contest chair, and then Marvin later on in his part of the presentation will talk about the contest officials that the chief judge will be looking for. So as a contest chair, you need the following people: Toastmasters for the contest, contestants, of course, and sergeant at arms. The Toastmaster role and the contest chair role can be interchangeable, which means that the contest chair can also be the Toastmaster. Something that I like to practice, and again, this is just me, I like to separate the roles out for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that if we create another role of contest Toastmaster, it opens up an opportunity for another member to take on a role, maybe try a role that they haven't done, or it just creates another opportunity for someone else to step up to the plate. If you have 2 different contests with 2 different Toastmasters, that's again an extra opportunity for another one of your members of your club to try out the Toastmaster role. The other reason I like to separate the contest chair and Toastmaster roles out is because then the contest chair is free to help out wherever needed while the contest is happening. So once you have your Toastmasters and your contestants, we do need sergeants at arms, and you will need 2 for that. One will go with the table topics contestants and be in that breakout room until it is their turn to come one by one to do their speech. The other sergeant at arms would be person who in-person contest is the folk who sort of, runs between the two rooms, the contest room and the breakout room, and says, okay, it's your turn now. So we need one SAA to be in the breakout room with the contestants and another runner SAA who will be going between the main room and the breakout room to say the minute of silence is happening, the next contestant can come in. Along with the two SAAs, I would suggest very strongly having a main room tech person who will remain in that main contest room for the entire duration of your event. And by entire duration, I mean from the time that people start logging in to the time when everything is done and we can hit the leave end meeting for all button on our screen. So we have most of our things done. We have the date, we have an opportunity to create breakout rooms, we have our contest chair, we have a chief judge, we have our contest officials. Now it comes to checking eligibility. Your contestant eligibility is, of course, having their dues paid. So this is something that you can work with your treasurer to ensure that if a person wants to compete, they have their dues in. Now, I want to be a little more specific with this. I know I've mentioned it 3 times already. It's that important. But I do want to be a little more specific in the sense that it's not enough for a contestant to hand their money over. And by handing money over, I mean whatever method the club uses to get dues. It's not enough to just get it to the treasurer. It has to be into TI before the date of your club contest. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's not enough to just e-transfer or whatever method you use. My club uses e-transfer. It's not enough to just transfer that money to the treasurer of my club. The treasurer has to actually put it in, and TI has to have a record of this particular member having paid their dues before they compete. So this is something that the contest chair should actually be checking. It's just doing their due diligence and making sure that everything is okay. The last thing we want to happen is that a contestant moves up to the area level, and when eligibility is being checked at that level, we find out that, oh no, this person hadn't paid their dues, and then, they can't compete. It does say in the rule book that if ineligibility is found even after the contest is over, it still applies to the level before. So again, the wording is very clear in the rule book. When you read through it, you can just sort of, keep that in the back of your mind. There are forms to be completed. These forms are the same forms that we would have used if we were doing in-person contests. So from a contest chair point of view, there is the speaker's eligibility and originality form. That's the one where they tick off which contest they're participating in and then put the name of their title at the bottom. That form is still valid and needs to be fulfilled. The other form that contestants normally fill out is the contestant profile form. A lot of clubs have started not using that form only because they want to have their own interview questions when it comes time to do the interviews for the contestants. The contestant profile form, I would suggest that the contest chair does have the contestants fill out only because all the information that needs to go into the notification of winner form at the end will be on that contest profile. Along with that, you get to find out what their favorite quote is, which is always fun to know. So once your forms are complete, they are fillable now from TI. So you can email them to your contestants ahead of time. Please try and have them back before the day of the contest, so there's no sort of emails happening back and forth last minute, and you can have all your forms ready to go, and all that side of the contest will be taken care of even before the day. For the table topics question, you have to pick one. So typically it's the contest chair who picks it and gives it to the Toastmaster, but you can pass that off to the Toastmaster as well if you want. It is very important that you keep a record of the question that is being asked, because when the area directors get this training, I will be asking them to ask the clubs to provide the question that was asked. The reason for that is that we don't want duplicate questions being asked. We don't want someone coming up with a similar question, just to sort of, stretch our contestants a little bit and to make things fair throughout. So the way it's going to go all the way to district is that the clubs send their table topics questions to their area directors. The area director takes a look at those questions and comes up with a table topics question that is different from the ones that they have with them already. And they pass their question along with these up to the division director, who takes a look at everything and comes up with their own question. And then everything comes to me so that I can come up with a fantastic table topic question for the district contest that will happen in the spring. So if someone is super good at math in amongst the 122 participants that we have today, that's a lot of questions that I'm wading through, and I have to really think hard to come up with a district level question that is going to not only be different from something that a contestant has faced, but that is also challenging enough at that particular level. So you have to keep in mind, now you might be thinking, well, the chances of a contestant having heard all these questions is very minimal. It is, but the contestants that reach the district level, which will be the 6 from each of the divisions, those 6 contestants had started at their club level. So they have actually already answered 1, 2, 3 table topics questions already, and they're about to receive their 4th. So just to make things interesting for me, if you could keep a copy of your question and send it to your area director, then I will make sure that everything is going to be fair at the district level. Does anybody have any questions at this point? That was a lot of information I gave.
Hey, so I've got a few questions that I took from the chat. I didn't want to interrupt you. You had a pretty good flow going on there.
Yeah.
So Gerald from the Dinosaur Toastmasters Club asked, can we run the table topics contest one day and the humorous contest at a second day?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. And the second question he had is, are we allowed to team up with other clubs to help run together, so we can have everyone in the main room, then have breakout for judges, a breakout for contestants, and a breakout for other things, and then people can come back in?
Sure. Yeah, you can. So if we were doing in-person meetings, sometimes smaller clubs do piggyback sort of on each other and do something together. It also helps to cut down on resources. You can have, you can pool your resources in that. So that is a great idea, and you can do that. You just have to be aware and keep in mind that one club does their contest first, and then the next club does. So you don't want to sort of intermingle the 4 contests that's going to happen, the 2 humorous and the 2 table topics. This is assuming, in my example, I'm assuming that it's 2 clubs who want to get together. Just make sure that you do club 1's humorous. The results are sort of, given by the chief judge to that club's contest chair, who keeps it with themselves. Then you move on to the table topics. And then do the humorous and table topics for the other club. At the end of each particular contest, so the humorous contest, the results need to be given to the contest chair, and they keep it until announcements are made and the results are set at the end. But yes, it is possible to sort of, pool resources and work together with other clubs. You just have to make sure you're not sort of intermingling. Yeah.
Thanks, Saya. The next question was from Stephen Larocque. He was asking about, can we do contests in hybrid meetings if all the contestants are online? So we had voted as a district that contests, all club contests and area, division, and district contests would all be held online. So we want to give the best possible experience for the contestants, so they experience that online competition environment. So I recommend that you do have that online, have that entire contest online, just so you can give that experience. But would you agree?
Can I just add to that? So by hybrid, I'm assuming it's where there's online contests and people in a room, like physically in a room. If that is the case, then all contestants and all contest officials need to be doing stuff online for the contest. So it's not just enough to have the contestants online. It's important for the other contest officials to also be online, so that the entire contest that is happening on the online platform as was voted on September 12th. If it is going to be a hybrid meeting, the people who are physically in a room, they can only be audience. That's it, and cannot participate in the contest as such. Can I just ask Stephen if that answers his question?
You can unmute yourself, Stephen, if you...
Yes, that actually is the way I figured it should be.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. Darren had asked about the minimum membership number for clubs in good standing.
So again, that's 8, but taking into account the criteria of who needs to be within that 8. But that is very clearly written in the rule book, and I know because I actually read it. Yeah.
So read the moral of the story is read the rule book. There's lots of good information.
Yes.
And finally, I had a question from Jay from Igniters. During online contests, do we really need more than one ballot counter? It's a bit challenging for judges to send ballots to more people.
So this is from Jay?
Yep.
Okay, Jay, I am going to defer that question actually to Marvin to take care of in his portion of the presentation. If at the end of the whole event of this training, if Jay, your answer is still not, if your question is still not answered, please ask it again and we will address it again at the end. But for now, I'm going to defer it to Marvin.
Okay, those are the questions that I had saved. There may have been a few other ones that came in just now here.
Okay.
Let's see. Had one question here from Ruby asking sequence of contests. Table topics must be done first, then humorous, if doing in the same meeting.
No, there's no set rule of which one to do first. It depends on each club. Some clubs prefer to do humorous first, so that those contestants are sort of done with their speeches and then do table topics. Other clubs like to do table topics first and then end with a lot of laughter. So it's really dependent on the clubs itself.
Preference
a follow-up question, Saya. Referring back to that sergeant of arms needed for the TT. If we are doing a combo club, Club A and Club B, and TT is first, would we need 2 separate holding rooms for each of the respective TT contestants and 1 sergeant of arms for each of the holding rooms?
No. So if you have a Club 1 and a Club 2, Club 1 is doing table topics first, you still need that 1 breakout room for their table topics contestants to be in that breakout room, and the other club is actually just audience at that point. So you don't need to create 2 breakout rooms. So the table topics will happen for Club 1 first, and then it'll happen for Club 2. Only after the results of Club 1's table topics contest has been given by the chief judge to the contest chair. Does
Perfect,
that help?
that clarifies it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So if there are no more questions, I just want to wrap up with 2 final things. So that was a lot of before the contest is done. But here's your thing, contest chair. If you can get through all of that before the contest, during the contest, your job is typically just to make sure that everything's going smoothly and to put out fires. That's all. My rule of thumb is that if you are able, as contest chair, to be thoroughly engaged in the contest and you are able to listen to all the speeches and have a good time yourself, you have done a bang up good job of getting everything ready before the contest happens. So I want to end right now with 2 things that are important after the contest. So the first thing that I want to mention is going back to the Of the Year awards. So this is a great opportunity, the fall contest, to actually acknowledge once again the winners of your Club of the Year awards from the previous Toastmaster year. So that would be the Rookie of the Year, the Toastmaster of the Year, and the PR, Public Relations of the Year, if you have that. It's a great opportunity for the immediate past president of your club to make a little bit of a hoopla about these people who have worked so hard and have been given these accolades. If you can, in your agenda, please leave some time for that. Not 1 to 2 minutes. We don't want it to be a rushed kind of a Rookie of the Year was this person, Toastmaster was that person, PR was the 3rd person. With enough time for the past president to be able to say a few things about why they were chosen. Acknowledgement is a huge thing in District 42, and we just want to make sure that these people are being properly acknowledged. And the last thing that I want to end on is something that you will hear in Marvin's part of the presentation as well, but it is that important that we are both going to say it, is the notification of winner form. The contest chair's job is not complete until this form has been handed over to your area director. The notification of winner form is typically just that. It lists the winners of the contest. Now, what I have been noticing over the last quite a few years is that typically only the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place contestants have their information on that form. Please can I emphasize that every single contestant who has not been disqualified needs to have their information on that form. So again, for example, if you have 7 contestants in humorous speech, there needs to be 7 names if none of those 7 were disqualified. 7 names, 7 phone numbers, 7 email addresses. The reason for that is the winner, like the culmination of the humorous and the tabletopers contest will happen in the spring. If the 1st place winner has gone through all the way to district level and they cannot compete, you know, it just works that way. So let's take your next level, which is area. When you go up to area, if your club 1st place winner cannot be there, we send up the 2nd. If they cannot be there, we send up the 3rd. If they cannot be there, we need your 4th contestant. If that 4th contestant is not listed on your notification of winner form, we are coming back to you as contest chair, and then you have to do a bit of a runaround and get that information to us. So let's cut out all the extra work. The notification of winner just has every single name on there that is not disqualified. And I'm saying that over and over again. If a contestant is disqualified, you do not need to put that name on because there is absolutely no chance that they will be moving forward. So please make sure that the notification of winner form is complete. It's a good idea for both the contest chair and the chief judge to work together on that form because of the types of information needed. The listing of the 7 contestants, again, in my example, there's 7 for humorous. The listing of the 7 humorous contestants will be in order from 1st all the way through 7th. The chief judge knows that. The information of the contact details of these people, the phone numbers, the email addresses, the contest chair knows that because of the contestant profile form. So if both the contest chair and the chief judge work together on this form, then they can both double check, make sure all the information is correct, everything is good, and then you email that to your area director as soon as possible. Ideally at the end of the contest so that your job is actually done. And once the area director has that copy, you're good and you have finished your contest. Okay, so that was a lot of information that I gave. It's just my style to not use slides in my presentation. I prefer to have attendees sort of listen to what I'm saying. I hope I've been able to explain the whys of what I've been talking about. Once there's a reason attached to it, it just becomes so much easier to remember because then it just like, yeah, we have to do that because of this reason and it makes sense. If you have any further questions that I have not given information about, we do have a question and answer session at the end. I have 2 more minutes of my time slot, so if there's any pressing questions, you can ask them now. Otherwise, we will go on a break and reconvene. So are there any questions regarding notification of winter forms or anything like that?
Saya, it's Franco Savoia with Sunrise.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly new. Is that bridging between September and October?
Yeah.
Is the end of the year for Toastmasters September 30th? Is that what that means? So that if I'm an active member, if I've paid up for the year at the end of September, so if I have my contest in September, anybody that we've been all year, we're fine. It's people in October. Is that correct?
That's right. That's absolutely correct.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to be sure. That's what I thought it was. Thank you.
No problem. So the last thing I want to say in my last 1 minute of the time allocated to me is please ask your questions. If there is no such thing as a stupid question, there are no limits to how many times you can ask the same question. As the district contest chair for this year, I would rather have the same question be answered multiple times to make sure that we get it right than to get something wrong. If the same question is being asked over and over again, it's also an indication to me that I have not been able to get that information across accurately, and I will work to correct that. Okay, so please ask your questions. If it's something that you did not know and now you know, fantastic. If it is something that you already know and the answer just validates what you already had in mind, then that's great too. So thank you everybody for listening to the contest chair point of view for contest. We will now take a 5-minute break and reconvene at 12:15 for the next portion of training. So stretch your legs, walk around a bit, and we'll see you in 5 minutes.
And we're back from our break now. Thank you everybody for enjoying all your questions and enjoying the presentation, participating in Saya's presentation. Next part we have is our Chief Judge presentation presented by our District 42 Chief Judge. Please help me welcome Marvin Henry.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome to Chief Judges and Judges. I'm going to be talking about what the responsibilities of Chief Judges and about judges as well. So raise your hand if you ever been a Chief Judge. We got a few people here. That's good. A few experienced Chief Judges. Okay, so this is for good for the Chief Judges. If you want to be a Chief Judge or ask to be a Chief Judge, it's also good for judges if you ask to be a judge. Contestants as well, they could know this so they got to understand the rules better. People doing the officials, ballot counters, timers, sergeant of arms, Toastmaster, chairman, all the role officials will also be benefit from this session. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so yeah, this is a typical contest. People are engaged and ready to judge or be officials. The contest is going to start soon. Let's move on to my agenda. Oh, right here.
A lot of well-known people in that picture.
Yeah. Okay, so before a contest, you gotta make sure you have all your forms and send your forms to your officials. Make sure you read the rulebook or review the rulebook at least, and make sure you have all your officials. You need 1 contest chair, 1 chief judge. For a club contest or area contest, it needs 5 to 7 voting judges. Now the rulebook says 5, but you need extra judges just in case there's technical difficulties. If a judge loses control, like I just did for a second, then he's no longer can judge properly. So therefore, the other judges will be counted instead. So last spring we had almost 9 judges for the area contest. So I'm suggesting you have anywhere between 5 and 9 is good. I got 5 to 7 on the screen here, but 5 to 9 is good as well. That way you can count all 7 judges you like. You can count all 7 judges if they're all judged. But if one judge has problems and didn't see a speaker, then the judge can let the chief judge know, so he won't be counted, or that judge will not hand in his ballot, so he won't be counted. But if all 7 judges see the speaker clearly and can judge, then all 7 judges can be counted on the tally ballot. 1 tie-breaking judge. You only need 1 tie-breaking judge. If a tiebreaker judge does fail, I guess the chief judge can assign a second tiebreaker. But you can't use 2 tie-breaking judges officially. You can only use 1 tie-breaking judge can be counted. 2 ballot counters. 2 ballot counters is a must, even on Zoom. The rulebook says 2. You got to follow the rulebook, and also it has to be verified. So if you have 1 ballot counter, the ballots won't be verified properly. So you need 2 ballot counters, so the ballots will be verified, so there's no misconceptions in the ballots. Same with timers. 2 timers. 1 person does lights, and 1 person does the timing. All right. So that way, the timer focuses on timing only, and gets sent to the chief judge, and then the other person does lights, so the speaker can see the lights correctly. And then, like Saya said, is 2 sergeant arms as well, and 1 Toastmaster per contest, which could be the same as a contest here. The rulebook does say unless impractical. So at your club contest, if you don't have enough people, you may want to double up, right? That you can have a counter be a judge, or a counter be a timer, and so on. I mean, you can't have you can be creative, but try to be focused, so the judges are focused, right? And everyone is doing the role correctly. At the area level, there's no need for doubling up because there's enough people in the area to fill their roles. So I expect you talk to your area director and make sure you have enough officials for your contest. There's at least 4 clubs per area. That's more enough members in the area to fill the contest. So only doubling up if necessary at a club contest. I wasn't expecting to double up at any other level. Even at a club contest, you can always find other members from other clubs if necessary. Any member can be official. You don't need training for that. Any member can be a counter or a timer. The counter and timers are the easiest roles. Any member who's paid can be a counter or a timer. I'll go over judges in a minute. Other roles are a bit more experienced as well. The forms are fillable, and you can download them at toastmasters.org. I'll show you where you can download them next, but these are the forms. So you need an eligibility form for the contestants. The profile form, like Sarah said, is optional, but it can be handy. The timer form and the tally form is mandatory. You should use a timer form and tally form because they're very laid out correctly. You can download them easily and for free. The judge's ballot is also mandatory, and so is the eligibility code ethics form. You have to sign that form and send it back to the chief judge by email before the contest starts. And same with the eligibility form. It has to be signed and send it back to the chief judge before the contest starts. So this form here and the top form here must be signed for each contest and sent back to the chief judge before the contest starts. Now, if you're competing in Toastmasters and Tip Topics and Humorous the same day, the same club or the same area, you can send one form for both contests, but if you're competing in 2 different days, you got to send 2 different forms. And if you compete at the club level and the area level, you can resend the club form back to the area contest chief judge, as long as the chief judge has a form in hand. You mentioned the notification form. I'll go over that at the end too. So here are your forms. Go to Leadership Central and go to Officer Tools. This is where your rulebook, and that's where your rulebook would be. Or you can go to Resources and Resource Library. The Resources and Resource Library is the most reliable place for all your forms and rulebook. So the Officer 2 has the rulebook, but I just noticed that the rulebook here is last year's, not this year's. And I'll show my screen at the end to go over that again, because I just noticed something here. Oh, here it is. So the Resources Library is the best place to get your rulebook and your forms. The rulebook also has a checklist for the chief judge. So in this checklist, it has many things listed. You should review it. I'll repeat a few things here. Again, I'll have about 7 judges for the club and area, up to 10 judges for division contests. Make sure that as chief judge, you send their eligibility forms in the judge's eligibility form. One second here. Yes, make sure you send your forms to your contestants and your judge beforehand so they can sign it, and send it back to you. Make sure you have a breakout room for your briefings and also for your tip topics contestants. You can use the same room for both. As the online person, I may be able to create breakout rooms in advance for some of the clubs or most of the clubs, but you still have to assign members to the breakout room and open the room for your briefing and for your table topics contests. And if you don't have a breakout room, you can also create one, or you can ask me to create one in advance. Make sure you collect the results by text or by email. So the judges must send their ballots by text, by email, but taking a photo of the ballot. Now I'll go over that in a minute too. And you count in the breakout rooms. Qualify for a judge. I go to the last point first. Judges training is not required. The rule book doesn't say anything about judges training. The rule book says the top items here, which I'll go over. So therefore, if you're trained, last year, year before, and 5 years ago, got trained by your president or trained by your area director or trained by another experienced Toastmaster or read the rule book, you're good to go. The rule book says you got to be a member in good standing for club contests, and also for club contests, the judges can compete, but not the same contest, of course. So if you're competing on Monday, the person can judge on next Tuesday or the following or one a different day, but only for the club contests. At the area level, members have to be in good standing, and you can have completed level 2 in pathways or 6 speeches in the traditional program. I'm assuming all of you are in pathways now, because I'm a pathways junkie myself. And so level 2 in pathways or 6 speakers in the traditional program. And judges cannot compete at the area level or above. If you have judging, you can't compete anymore. And if you're competing, you can't judge anymore. Division and district contests, you cannot judge a member in your club. So at the area level you can, but the division you cannot. And the reason for that is at the area level, the judges may come from the same area, such that there's one judge from each club. So if there's 5 clubs in the area, there's 5 judges. If there's 4 clubs in the area, there's 4 judges plus an extra judge from a different area, or you have another judge, have 2 judges from each club to make 8 judges, and that'd be great. 8 judges for the club over area contests. So you can judge your member, but at division level, you cannot. So you have to find judges from outside the club for all the division and district contests. During the contest, in the spring and again this fall, we had no profiles whatsoever on the screen by the contestants or the judges. And that's to be aware of distractions, right? So you don't want the contestants to be distracted. You don't want to give the judges have to be anonymous, so you don't want to tell who the judges are. So therefore, there's no profiles for judges or contestants on the screen. Rename yourself. So the judges should be renamed Judge 1, Judge 2, Judge 3, all that to Judge 7, or how many judges you have. The judges are muted and video off. It's best to have in speaker view. That way you see the whole speaker clearly. In gallery view, you see small windows, and that's good for audience or other people, but for the judges, it's best to be in speaker view, and that way you see the speaker clearly for gestures and other stage movements. You can't use the chat during contests for comments to the contestants, something like that. You can ask questions to the contest juror maybe, but the judges cannot use the chat. Be aware of contestants. They can use screen share, photo backgrounds, etc. They can use almost anything they'd like to on Zoom, and to be creative. The World Championship, Mike Carr, who won in August. If you've seen him, you can raise your hand or send a comment in the chat there. So Mike Carr won the World Championships in August, and he used the screen to his advantage. The very first second, his head was just entering the corner of the screen. Now, I never seen it before, or even tried it before, but he used it and it worked well for him. He used the screen many times very well during his speech, and he won. So you gotta be creative on how to use your screen, as the screen is your speaking area. Other people use virtual backgrounds in the international contest in August, and some use props as well. When you're judging, you focus on the speech. It doesn't matter if he's sitting down or standing. It doesn't matter of the audio or video quality, and or any background like the furniture or the type of background. Now the virtual backgrounds, should be support the message, and that can be used in your judge's ballot. Same as your gestures should support the message. So again, you can use that in your judge's ballot on the delivery. The speaking area is the screen. Now the person cannot be disqualified for going off the screen. But again, you can use the judge's ballot for delivery. how the screen is used for the support the message. The judge must print the ballots and use the judging criteria, and then sign the ballots, take a photo, and send the ballot by text or by email to the chief judge. All judges must pick the top 3. If there's at least 3 speakers, all top three must be chosen. All top 3 must be sent to the chief judge, and the decisions are confidential. So the judges have to break their own ties and send only the top 3, and then the chief judge can sort out the top, all the order from 1 to how many contestants? There's 7 contestants, 1 to 7, and then send all 7 in the notification form, like Saya said. The tie-breaking judge is only used for ties. Here's your ballot. Make sure you use the right form. 1 form for tabletop contests and 1 form for humorous piece contests. Again, they can download it from the TI site. While you're using your ballot, you can take notes, use the points on the side here, and you can also, use your plus points, 15 plus if you like. Now, most Toastmasters are good, some are fair, and some are excellent. So be sure you use the criteria to find out which are excellent and which are fair, because most Toastmasters are good. Make sure you sign your ballot at the bottom here. First, second, and third. Take a photo of this and send it by text or by email to your chief judge. Now, as a judge, you should be aware of these items here: the qualities of a good judge and the barriers. If you come to my judges training on the 25th, I may have one again next week. I'll go over these things in more detail. They also can be downloaded or looked at on the website at toastmasters.org at this link here. Make sure you know the rules. There's no rules for dress code. There's the speaking area is only a guideline, so you should be in the speaking area. Use it to your advantage as a screen. But again, if you step out of the speaking area, there's no disqualification for that. The only disqualification is for eligibility or originality. Contestants must be a paid member to be eligible to compete. Pay as October 1st. And the speech must be original, so only 25% or less can be a quote or taken from a different source, and that source must be credited in his speech. So if I make a quote from Tom Hanks, I have to credit his speech, credit his quote in my speech. The notification form. After the contest, make sure the chief judge fills off this notification form and list all the contestants in order from the tally sheet. The tie-breaking judge is only used for ties only. So therefore, if there's no ties in the tally sheet, there's no reason to open the tie-breaking ballot or envelope. It's only looked at if there's ties. Second and third tie, first and second tie, third and fourth tie, fifth and sixth tie, and so on. So is a tie between fifth and second and third, like the first person has 80 points, the second person has 75, the third person has 75. The tie-breaking judge form gets opened up, and the tie-breaking judge listed Bob as his leading person over Sue, and Bob and Sue both have 75. Then Bob is now the second place, and Sue is now third place, and so on. The club can send their results to the area director. The area director sends all the results to the division director, and the division director sends all the results to me, the chief judge. And this is our email address for both Saya and myself, and Ryan too. So in summary, make sure all the ballots are signed by the judges. Make sure the judges also sign their eligibility form, and the contestants sign the eligibility form. Make sure you use the judge's criteria and nothing else. Make sure you pick the top 3, and that top 3 is sent to the chief judge to use for the results. Before I go into questions, let me just share my other screen here.
I have some questions for you, Marvin, when you have a chance.
Okay, this is the Toastmaster website. Can you see it? Ryan, can you see the Toastmaster website?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, so Leadership Central is right here. Resources are here. I'll click Resources, Resources Library. I'll type in Rulebook here. Now this link was also sent by the chat I saw. And I think the rulebook should be here.
You spelled rulebook wrong.
Right. Okay. Good call. Okay, here it is. The rulebook. He won August last year, so August 9, 2019, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, he did. So this is the rulebook we're using now. There's a few changes from this rulebook, but most of it's the same. So you can check this rulebook, download it, or look on the screen. If you view the rulebook here, it opens up in full view, and then you can read through it. And I think it has links on it too. Does it have a link? No, you gotta scroll through. It doesn't have links on it. Okay. And going back, no, I lost it. Okay. Let me try again. Okay, so type in, what am I typing now? Oh, type in contests. Oh, type in table topics. Type in table topics. Table topics. That's the name of the contest. Let's type in contest tips. Kits. There you go. All right, try one more time. Why isn't this working? Well, it's there.
Marvin,
yeah.
type in kit, speech contest kit, no S.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. It is. There it is. It is tricky, but it's all there. Tabletop is contest tips. There it is. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So right there is your tabletop is contest tip, and also your image speech contest kit. And then you download the kit, and it downloads in a zip form all the forms necessary, including your certificates if you want to send out a certificate by email. Okay, let's go over the questions now.
Thank you so much, Marvin. I've got a few questions that I pulled out of chat, and the first one I got is from Lawrence Muart from Bedstone Olympics, and Lawrence was asking about digital signatures, if they could be used for the forms.
So technically they can be used, but I'm not sure, I'm not positive their forms are set up that way. So they're fillable, right? So you can type in your name, I guess. You can do it you can also change the font, I guess, to make it look like a signature. If your PDF has a signing tool, I think mine does now, you can use that to sign your forms. So the answer is yes, as long as you can make it, as long as you can do it, technically, right? So if your computer allows you to do it, if your version of software can allow you to do it, if the forms allow you to do it, then the answer is yes.
Thanks, Marvin. I know I've seen it where you could use it if you used a certain like Adobe Acrobat Reader, depending on the program you open up the PDF with, and if you use the right form. The next question is asking about explaining the counting in the breakout rooms. One can always exchange emails or texts between judges, ballot counters, and the chief judge. Why do we need a breakout room to count? Texts and emails could suffice.
Okay, the breakout room is such that after the contest is completed, the judges get sent to the breakout room, so the judges can focus on the counting and not on the interviews that's going on in the contest right now, in the main room. So once the judges count all their contestants and lists the top 3, takes a photo, sends that photo to the chief judge can confirm if they got it. The chief judge can only confirm in the breakout room. They can confirm by email and text too, I guess, but it's easier to confirm in the breakout room. And once the chief judge receives that ballot from the judge, then the judge can leave the breakout room at his own click, and then return to the main room to see the rest of the interviews if he or she likes. The ballot counters must stay in the breakout room to verify the counting, right? So now that all the ballot counters and all the judges have their ballots from the chief judge, the judges sent their ballots to both the ballot counters and judges, and then the ballot counter will count their ballots and send the results to the chief judge. And again, they can verify in the breakout room. They can also verify by text or by email, but it's easier to verify and focus in the breakout room. Does that answer your question?
And that was from Jay from Igniters.
That makes it a lot easier. Yeah, it makes it so that everyone's focused on their task, such that the ballot counters are counting the ballots and then sending the results to the chief judge. The chief judge has to confirm that he or she has gotten the ballots and the counts are verified. They both match by each ballot counter.
And Mary mentioned there's lots of distractions in the main meeting room, so it can help things out. Just separating for that focus. The next question is from Lawrence from Bedstone Olympics. If two contests are held in the same meeting, can a member be a judge in one contest and compete in the other contest?
Only in the club contest. Okay, so only in the club contest can the judge compete. So I guess if the tabletop contest is first in the main room, and then the humorous speech contest is second in the breakout room, yes, the judge can compete in either contest, and the second contest, or vice versa. Does that answer your question? At the area level, though, you cannot compete and judge at two different contests. No judges can compete. No contestants can compete at the area level or district, division, or district contests.
Yeah, this is Lawrence. Marvin, thank you so much for doing this. You didn't quite answer my question, because it confused me slightly when you started talking about a contest in a breakout room and a contest in the main room. I was thinking both contests in the main room, they happen one after the other. In one of them, I'm a judge. In the other one, I'm a contestant. Is that okay?
Yes, it's okay at a club contest, but not the area contest. Yeah.
I have quite a few questions about breakout rooms, Marvin. Do we want to talk about it in this session, or do we want to talk about it in Harvy's session?
Well, I'll let Harvy go over it some more, but I'll just do a breakdown. So if I have time, I will create breakout rooms for all the clubs. If not, I will create breakout rooms for some clubs. Because there's over 60 clubs in the district, so that takes a lot of time, of course, right? Okay, so if you have a breakout room, first of all, you gotta be a host. You gotta claim the host key, and then at the bottom of the screen is a breakout room button. You assign members to the breakout room. You assign your contestants for table topics. You first assign your judges, your ballot counters, and timers, and then the contest will start. The briefing will start, etc. So you open the room for briefing, and automatically your contestants, ballot counters, and timers will be moved to breakout room. So let's go for that again. You sign your ballot counters, timers, and judges breakout room. When you open it, they will move to breakout room. Once the briefing is over, they have to leave on their own, or you can close that room, and everyone leaves at once. Then you assign your contestants to the breakout room. At the end of the tip topics contest, you can open it. All the contestants will go to the breakout room. Make sure the person who's first is not assigned, so he can speak first. When the sergeant tells the second person to come in, the second person has to leave on his own, because the host cannot bring him back in by his or herself. Once all the contestants are in, then the break room can be closed. I hope that's clear as mud. So again, create a breakout room, assign your members to the room, open it up. They can come back on their own when necessary. Or at the end of the contest, you can close, or end the briefing, you can close the breakout room, and they all come back at once.
Marvin, Devin was asking why you need to create breakout rooms for each club in the district. I think you're referring to if there was clubs that were sharing an online account.
No, every contest has a breakout room for the briefing, and every contest has a breakout room for the table topics session. So typical contestants can go to breakout room and not hear their speak. Now, I guess the table topic contestant unjoin himself and leave the meeting itself and come back in, but that's not controlled. So it's best to have breakout rooms so the contestants can go there and wait while the speaker is his turn to speak for table topics. And briefing must be done in breakout rooms as well. So every contest must have one breakout room for both items.
Sorry, I'm just trying to understand what it's not. I understand the reason for breakout rooms. It's why you have to create them.
Well, I don't have to create them. You can if you want to. If you're a host, that's what I meant actually. The host can create breakout rooms once you claim your host key. I'm talking about district Zoom sites. If you have your own Zoom account, you're on your own, right? But if you don't have a Zoom account, I'm here to help you. And if district accounts, you can create your own breakout room once you claim your host key. But if you like, I can create one beforehand, and then all you gotta do is assign and open them.
Okay. Are we going to go over how that works?
Well, I just did that. So Harvey was going to go over that some more.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Harvey's going to do it over that some more, and that's one reason why I thought of creating them, to make it slightly easier. So I'll let Harvey take care of that some more.
Okay, Marvin, the last question that I had was relating to timing on Zoom, but is that something that Harvey was going to go over?
Yes. So right now, Ryan has a yellow timing light. So you could use green, yellow, and red backgrounds like Harvey is. That's your best bet for contests. At the area level, division, district, we'll be using these virtual backgrounds. At the club level, you also use the virtual backgrounds, green, yellow, and red. You can download them from TI site. Again, if you look on resources or branding, or you can download these virtual backgrounds. They're actually in branding, I believe. And then once you download them, you can use them as your lights, red, yellow, and green. If you don't download them, you can also download them from the Google, of course. You can Google red, yellow, and green. You can also use props, lights in the club contests if you have different kind of lights. But at the area, division, and district, we'll be using the virtual backgrounds like Ryan is now.
Thank you, Marvin. That is the conclusion of your time. Thank you for going over a lot of the judging relation to the contest. Next, we're going to have Harvey, our tech team lead, to discuss point out some more of the technical aspects of the contest process. So we'll take a short break. Come back at 1:05. And so take a moment to stretch, and Harvey will take it away from there.
So I'm here to talk about tech tips. I'm not going to go through anything specific for Zoom that you can learn on your own or things like that. We're going to go through some generic things that will help the tech side of your club meetings. And I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, so some tech tips. Let's start off with the second screen here. Marvin Henry is the chief judge, and we have needed for judges for every single contest. Marvin can't be everywhere. Each contest needs to find a judge. Same with a club needing to find tech people. If you can think back to the very first time you were a Toastmaster for a meeting, thinking of all the things you had to control and organize in this way and that way, a little bit nervous, but time got better and easier as time went on. Same with being a tech person. Might be nervous the very first time, but after a while it just gets easier and easier. So each club needs a couple tech people to be comfortable, just like being the Toastmaster of a meeting. So this is an opportunity to learn more skills. And everybody here in District 42, which is Southern Alberta, Southern Saskatchewan, should be proud. We were the only district in Region 4 to have all 4 contests last spring. Region 4 goes part of Canada, part of the USA. And we were the only one to do all 4 contests. That means people figured it out in this district. So we can figure it out again, and we're going to distribute that load so every club is a little bit more tech savvy on running these contests. We just need to spread the expertise. What you need to do, get familiar with Zoom. I could see in the chat, are we talking about how to do breakout rooms this session? No, we didn't plan on doing that, but try to learn about it. There are clubs right now that are sharing Zoom links with other clubs. So somebody in those clubs is creating breakout rooms for the other club to go to. But whatever the case may be, experiment away. You can have your own Zoom account for free, play with it, and you can create breakout rooms. You can create 1, you can create 10. I don't know what the limit is, but it's definitely more than 10. And play away. There's something called the host. Now I know you can run a club meeting without anybody being a host. Then you will have a normal good club meeting. But somebody can claim the host and have a little bit more control of the meeting, and they are the people that can create the breakout room. So if you don't know your club's host key from your supplied Zoom account, ask for it. Find out, does somebody in your club know about it? Or look at some emails that have recently been going out saying what your host key is. One tiny little piece of advice, if you are the host, try not to go into a breakout room. Leaving the main room without a host is a little bit dicey in case something strange would happen. So send other people into the breakout rooms if they need to go exchange messages or gather information or figure out what's going on. As a host, try not. When you are a tech person, when you are a co-host or a host, play away. Play it in a club meeting. Don't wait for the contest. Try to make someone silent. This is not for the disturbers in the crowd, which definitely plays for them as well. But somebody might have to suddenly run to the bathroom, and as they're doing that, the doorbell rings and their dog goes into a barking fit. You want to know how to silence someone, and that will come with practice. Try it out. Also, right now, I'm screen sharing. So how can you allow somebody to screen share? How can you not allow them to screen share? How can you allow multiple people to screen share? There are functions in Zoom. Just go to the bottom of your screen, wiggle your mouse around, and you'll see them pop up, and play with them. Play with them on your own free Zoom account. You can't break anything. Or just have a club meeting where you're going to play with the tech controls. When you are the host, you might think, I need a second in command. Well, there is no second in command host for Zoom. There's just a whole bunch of co-hosts. Right now, this meeting has at least 3 co-hosts. But you can't tell who's second or third or fourth. So this is a little Zoom tip. Sometimes when you're hosting a meeting and the first person coming on is somebody doing a presentation and they want to be made co-host so they can share their screen and do their PowerPoint or whatever they're doing, and you make them co-host. Well, Zoom remembers who the first person was as a co-host. And if the host ever drops off, and we've seen thunderstorms or connection troubles where the host has dropped off, the second person who was made co-host, or sorry, the first person who was made co-host becomes host. And that might not be what you want, especially if the person was only doing a presentation and is not a techie person. So the trick around that is make the first co-host the person you feel is capable of being the host, should the host fall off. Also, get people renamed. For a club of 10 people or 15 people, not as a big deal. When you start getting to 20, 25, it's a bigger deal. When you're having larger contests, like 100 or 200 people online, it's a big deal to get them renamed. It's important. Why? When you are creating breakout rooms, you might have 6 speakers needing to go into one, but now you got to look for Angela and George and Zachary. Where are they in this big alphabetical list? But if they're all renamed with SP in front of them, they're all grouped together, and you can see all 6 speakers right together, and bang, 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 bang. As quick as I said that, you can move them into the breakout room. Now, if you have contestants using props, if you think back of the pre-COVID days, the rules were that a contestant is responsible for their own props. The contest people do not have to assist them with them. Well, now in the virtual world, there is a little bit of assistance required. If somebody wants to do, say, a PowerPoint in the middle of the speech or share a picture, you have to allow that for them. So they have to be allowed to share their screen. So now it's a little bit more where the people running the show, the techie people, have to make sure that they allow a contestant who wants that kind of online virtual prop. If you're using a district supplied Zoom link for your meetings, do not allow Zoom polls for a contestant speech. I won't go into explaining why, but if you're using a District 42 supplied Zoom account, don't allow polls being used for a speech contest, for a contestant, I should say. Now, during the contest, this is not the time to try out your new laptop or your new tablet or your new iPhone. This is where old and accustomed to is better. Also, if you normally run your setup at home with 2 monitors, don't suddenly run it with 1. If you normally run it with 1 monitor, don't suddenly decide to be better with 2. The Zoom controls vary ever so slightly if you have 1 monitor or 2, and you don't want to be learning those little nuances during the actual contest. Try to connect with a cable, otherwise known as Ethernet, not Wi-Fi. I know many of you are connecting with Wi-Fi, but if you can connect with a cable right to your router or your modem, you'll have a stronger connection. Some of you are going to be technical gurus about networks and computers. Some of you might not know anything what I'm about to say, but I'm going to share this. With Wi-Fi, it decreases in strength with every window or door or wall. Some of you might have a built-in router modem set up at your house, and it has both a fast Wi-Fi and a slower Wi-Fi. And you might think, oh, I always go in the faster Wi-Fi. Well, the faster Wi-Fi does not have the range of the slower one. So sometimes, if you're in a corner of your house far away from your router or your modem, the slower Wi-Fi is actually faster than the faster Wi-Fi because it's too far away and it went through too many walls. How can you know about this kind of stuff? Look at the website below, www.speedtest.net. That is a free site, and it will give you your response back in less than 1 minute. You can take your laptop, your device, go to any room in your house, and just check out your upload speeds, your download speeds, and you will know which corners of your house are better or worse. During the contest, be prepared to interrupt and tell a speaker, we can't hear you. That might go against everything you are thinking about in being polite. But if a speaker is going, you have to get in there because they might not be aware of it. They might be speaking clearly and nicely in their own little room, but the rest of you can't hear it. Be prepared to get in there and say, hey, we can't hear you, and allow them to start over. Monitor and limit chat. Just like think of a pre-COVID speech contest going on. You wouldn't want people talking with each other while the speaker is going on. Well, try to make sure that the chat is not happening as a contest is going on. It would be disruptive, so try to limit, turn it off, or really encourage people not to use it. After the contest, was it being recorded for a reason? If yes, ensure the process to capture the recording goes through. Just recording is one thing, but at the end of the Zoom meeting, you have to do something with that. Also, if you are the host, which is a technical term for one person per Zoom meeting, you are like the captain of a ship in trouble. You are the last to leave. If you need to leave, you assign somebody else to be the host before you leave. And make sure you select end the meeting for all as a host. Do not simply say leave meeting, because that can leave the meeting hanging and it causes a little bit of disturbance in the force when other people are using the exact same Zoom meeting. This is a cartoon I like. If you see the guy on the left, he's got his pajamas on, but from a screen point of view, he's got a white shirt and a tie. It looks all perfectly clear with a beautiful wall to the left, yet all full of clutter and junk to the right. That's the same with a tech meeting or an online club meeting or an online club contest. You can make them look nice and smooth and simple, and all the other junk is to the side. To summarize, we are distributing and localizing tech requirements to run club contests. There's enough people out there that know enough about tech, and we need more. We need people to learn a little bit more. This is not overwhelming where you have to learn the whole computer system. It's just a couple functions in Zoom. And by playing with what you mentioned today, don't be scared, but go play with it. If you have your own Zoom account, you can't damage anything. If you have a club contest playing with this, you can't a club meeting, not a club contest, a club meeting having this, you can't damage anything, but you'll gain invaluable experience playing. Try to break something, try to make it work this way, that way, really till you're comfortable with it and understand it. Just like your first icebreaker speech or running a meeting probably wasn't that smooth, but you get smoother later on. And you might be wondering, okay, where is some information about all this kind of stuff? Now this next page is in the works. I'm not expecting you to be able to read this whole page, especially with a tiny monitor right now. But right now, there is the stuff being created. There's going to be videos, PDFs, Word documents, all in links in the District 42 website. I would say it's less than a week away of being created, and you'll be able to allow yourself to go in and see, what do I need to run a contest? What do I need to do this for Zoom? How do I do this? How do I do a breakout room? Those links will be out there. There'll be more than you need. Might even be more than you want, but it will be out there very shortly. So I'm going to stop now. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So our club attendance has been very small. Sometimes we have 3, 4, 5, 6 members. And in the past, even our contest, sometimes we've had only 1 or 2 people show up for a contest. Would it be okay to just send a couple people on if there was only 1 or 2 people that actually were interested in doing it, and skip the club level contest? Because there's a lot of things happening really fast with locations and new memberships and trying to get our members online and stuff like that. So I just wondered how you felt.
I'm going to answer that with 2 different sides of the fence. The first way is, by you not having a club contest, people won't be forced to learn how to do this, and the competitors won't have the opportunity of being in that little bit more butterflies in your stomach mode of competing. But the second part of that is, yes, of course, if you only have 1 person wanting to go beyond your club, or for some areas that only have 4 clubs that you can send to, yes, you certainly can just pick somebody, or 2, depending on the size of your area, to go forth and represent your club.
Thank you.
I see a question right there. I'm going to just answer it about signing breakout rooms to clubs already in breakout room who are sharing accounts. As mentioned earlier, if you are in a Zoom meeting from a district account that is being shared with another club, the club in the breakout room cannot have a club contest that day, because you cannot have a breakout room inside of a breakout room. But the club in the main room could have a club contest that day. They could assign whatever breakout rooms they need and a breakout room for the other club to go do their regular club meeting. And I see another great question about if the assigned time is not probably long enough to run a club meeting, and we all know that some contest meetings go longer than a club meeting. Check it out with the Zoom team. I don't know the email address. Maybe Marvin or Ryan could put it in there about a question. I'm sure Marvin knows it. And we'll just verify if there's somebody before or after your shared time, or if you're good for an hour on each side. Thanks, Ryan.
Are the area contests going to be assigned a tech support?
Sorry, are you asking if the area is going to assign tech support?
Yeah, like is the area contest going to be assigned a tech tech support guy from the district, or is that something that we want to train someone in the area?
This is the utopia view, the perfect world view, that every division would have a tech person responsible for that division, and each area would have a tech person responsible for that area. That's the perfect world. The real world operates slightly different. So contact your area director, and they might contact the division director saying, help, we need somebody for guidance in here. Last spring, a select few ran oodles and oodles and oodles of contests. There was a lot of effort on a select few, and B, it didn't allow a lot of other people to really learn what to do. So we're distributing and decentralizing it by allowing other people to experiment, learn, and get a little bit more comfortable with the Zoom side of things, running a contest, which is slightly different than running a regular meeting.
Okay. Another question. If I am the contest chair, but not the Toastmaster, can I be the tech guy?
There's no rule as to who should be the tech guy or not. The larger the meeting, the less other hats the tech guy should be wearing. I would like to think right now for a club contest, the tech guy, tech person, would be wearing more than one hat. But for a meeting that's 50 people or larger, the tech person can get quite busy monitoring things going behind the scenes and addressing questions and help and et cetera, et cetera. But for a club, the tech lead definitely could wear more than one hat.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions that's specific to what Harvey was presenting?
I can expand on that last question. So a lot of people do ask that question. Yes. So like Harvey said, the sergeant of arms, the Toastmaster, the chairperson do not need to be a tech person. The tech person can be tech only, or it can be any other position, any other role in the contest.
Hello, I wanted to clarify. There was a question about if they only had like one person interested in going on, could they just go on, nominate them to go on to the area contest? And my understanding is yes, they could, but if they hold a contest and they have one contestant and they go over time, then that contestant cannot compete at the area.
That's right, Larry. And actually, if nobody else has very specific questions to what Harvey was presenting, then maybe we can move on to the last portion of our training. Thanks so much, Harvey. And then Marvin, Harvey, and myself, we can answer some specific questions here. I understand it is 1:30, so if anybody has to leave, absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us today. But if you are able to stay on for a little bit, then that would be really great too. Before I actually open up the training 2 questions, I was going through the entire chat box just now, and I just have a few more things to say where maybe the question that was asked in the chat box will be answered with my comments. So I'm just going to go through that. So the first thing that I want to do is apologize for something that I said in my part of the presentation that was actually incorrect. And it was brought to my attention, and I absolutely want to apologize and rectify it right now. So when I was talking about clubs in good standing, I said that this criteria of having the president and one of the VPs and the criteria that's needed for the club to be in good standing, I had said that you would find that in the rule book. It's not in the rule book. It's on the Toastmasters International website. I have been doing an insane amount of reading for the last few days, so I got my sources a little mixed up, so I apologize for that. If you find ever in the future that an information that you got is different from what you already believe to be so, please reach out to whoever's giving you that information and just double check and clarify. I just want to make everybody that's on here today very aware of something that you can take back to the club. As far as contests are concerned, I know that I am looking after mostly the contest chair portion. Marvin is our district chief judge. Harvey is our district tech lead. But at the end of the day, contests are with me. The buck stops with me. So if I have given any wrong information, I will make sure that I get back to you with the correct one. And if you have questions, please continue to ask. The other thing that I wanted to say was I saw a question on the chat box where it said, can we write our table topic question on the notification of winner form? There is no place for that, but I will be creating my own sort of record keeping spreadsheet, which will have certain information that I'm going to ask clubs to provide to me, and that is where the table topic question would have to come. Another great question that I saw in the chat box was, by when should we have our contest done so that our contestants moving forward are ready for area level? So this is how the contests are going to go. The clubs have to have their contests done by October 24th. The areas need to have their contests done by November 7th. So that gives a 2-week window for areas to hold their contests. I want to mention something right now, and your area directors will get this information as well. But if there is an area, I'm going to use my own as an example. I am part of area E19. So if the clubs in E19, if all the club contests are done by, let's say, October 20th, my area director can actually start deciding when he wants to hold his area contest from the 21st to November 7th. So it's really important that clubs start thinking that which is the date that I want to hold my contest, and please let your area director know as soon as you know. It helps in planning. The more time that we get to plan things, the better it is for us. But area contests do need to be done by November 7th. Division contests need to be done by November, I believe, 21st. Maybe Ryan can correct me if I'm not saying this right, but I believe that the division contest dates are on the events calendar. So it's a good idea for contestants to be aware and clubs to be aware of these dates, because then contestants know that, oh, if I go forward, I should have myself sort of available within this time frame to represent my club. I had a question here about briefing. Yes, briefings need to be done, and they can be done before the contest. I know that in the spring we held them the night before, sometimes a couple of nights before, depending on if a weekend came in the middle or not. Briefings can be done before, but they should be done. It's just a refresher of things to go over for the contest, and it's also a skill to be able to hold a briefing. So if your briefing is done by the contest chair or the Toastmaster, or both, and on the other side, if the briefing is done by the chief judge, it's a chance to practice what a briefing entails and how to do it. Speaking order is determined at the briefing. It can be done ahead of time. And again, I speak from my own experience. The other half of my brain, Lynette Theriault and myself, we pushed the limits a little bit one year, and we did our speaking order and we drew for it in front of the audience. Of course, this was pre-COVID, and we had a lot of fun doing that. But speaking order does need to be determined before the contest begins, and it can be displayed in a slide, which actually is a good idea to show during those 1 minute of silence. I remember an in-person contest, it was quite strange to be standing there or sitting there not speaking for a full minute. I know a minute doesn't sound very long, but when you're not doing anything, it's quite a while. So in your club contest, if you just make up a slide of the speaking order, then you can show that in between each contestant during that 1 minute of silence. I think we've covered breakout rooms quite a bit here. What else? Oh, certificates. There was a question about how do we hand the certificates over. In person, every participant gets a participant certificate and the winners get their placement certificates. Those are all done online. They are again fillable, and I actually have them separated out. So I'd be more than happy to send them out to division directors to pass on to area directors and on to clubs, and then you can just save it on your laptop and just have it as a package there. I had a question here also that does the chief judge have to come up at a contest and say, their spiel before the contest can begin? So in person, normally there's a portion where we say, and here is our chief judge to go over the rules. If your briefings for both the contestants and the officials, if they're being done at a time that is before the contest, then something you can do that we did in the spring was that the Toastmaster just asks the chief judge, is everything good? And the chief judge says, yeah, they are. And then you can move forward. A lot of this whole doing the briefing ahead of time and a lot of things that are happening in the contest is dependent a lot on our core values of TI. So that's integrity, respect, service, excellence. As long as we're aware of those 4 things and we sort of embed it in our contest, it's going to be great. I just have 2 more things and then I'll answer a question that Emma has here. There is a best practices document that TI has, and I think Ryan might have put the link up already. But what we will do as the district contest team is, like Harvey said, there will be resources available. I will also make up my own package of documents. I'm a paper and pen gal, and I will have it available again to division directors to pass on to area directors and clubs so that you have that as a package as well. And the last thing that I want to bring up is this whole nominating versus holding a contest. Yes, you can nominate, and sometimes clubs just have to. They don't have any other choice. But it is very important to understand that it is either holding a contest or sending forward nominations. You cannot do both. You cannot have a contest and then say, oh, yeah, I think we'll nominate now. It's one or the other, and whatever decision is made, it is final. Once the results go up on the notification of winner form to the area director, that is it.
Saya, I have a question regarding that. I was actually told by Lynette that should the nomination be nominated to contestant go ahead, to give them practice of an online environment, they can run a mock test, mock contest, no volunteers, a mock contest, speaking on time. Can you verify this is possible?
Absolutely.
So what is a mock contest to you, Ruby?
Timed environment with the timer showing the time. That's the mock contest.
And when is that taken? Before or after the deadline, October 24th?
Before the October 24th. On or before the club contest, 2 of my clubs are planning to nominate and give the practice using mock. So I just want to write information.
So what I would suggest, Ruby, is be very clear on the timeline. Every contestant, whether they're obviously, if they're competing, they're getting a chance to practice online. If they're being nominated, absolutely, they should practice the online platform. It is very different to hear about something, and it's a whole different ballgame when you're actually trying to do that. But here's the thing. Tell your clubs who are nominating to send that person's name, put it on the notification of winner form, send it to their area director, and then hold the practice. I don't want it to be a practice first and then see who I can nominate. If you are nominating, pick your nominee and then give them as much practice as they want. This particular person can visit multiple clubs and practice over and over again. Because if you are going to, by you, I don't mean you specifically, but if a club is going to hold a opportunity for 3 or 4 people to practice online and then pick a nomination out of them, that's basically holding a contest. You can't do that, right?
Thank you very much. But my point was very clear. I have less than 2 contestants, and they just need the timed environment so they don't leak. And simulation of a timed environment with the timekeeper. Thank you. That answers my question.
Okay, excellent. The last thing that I have to say here is that please be aware that the district contest will happen on the Zoom platform. So if you can have your club members practice on this particular platform, I know there's a whole bunch of online platforms out there, and I can just feel my university daughter just rolling her eyes because I can't name anything apart from Zoom. Please make sure that they do get the chance to practice on Zoom, because should they move forward, this is where it's going to be. Okay. I've spoken for a really long time. Does anybody have any other questions? You don't have to put it in the chat box. You can just unmute yourself and ask.
I got a question for Ryan, just to clarify something. So Ryan, Joyce mentioned about areas having 4 clubs or less can send 2 members forward. That has been decided by a district. There's a few areas with 4 clubs or less.
Yeah, thanks, Marvin. That is correct, and Saya is actually working with me to come up with a list of all the clubs, areas, divisions that would be eligible for submitting 2 contestants to the next level. So we're hoping to have that out by the end of the weekend. So we'll distribute that to the division directors, and they'll inform all the areas and clubs that are able to do that.
Thank you.
I just had a question on fillable forms, if I could. How do I access them?
They're downloaded by the TI site. So if they go on TI and search for tip topics, you can download it. I did that earlier in my session, and actually was on the 2nd page. So if you search on tail topics on the resource library, the rulebook comes up first, and the tip topics kit is on the 2nd page. If you search for a speech contest, same thing. If you search for speech contests, all the kits come up, and you can download those forms, all fillable.
Okay, when I went into the speech contest kit, I could see the form name and whatnot. I could bring a form up, but it wasn't fillable because I had to unzip the whole kit in order to see the individual forms, I guess. But they weren't fillable forms by the time I got through that stage. So,
okay. David, I can totally help you out here, and anybody else who is going through the same question in their head. At the spring contest, I pretty much fulfilled every role except for being a contestant. I have a whole sort of folder of the fillable forms, and what I can do is make that accessible to clubs so that you can use that.
Okay.
On a technical matter, they're all fillable. It all depends on your Adobe and browser. Every browser is different, every Adobe is different. And I went through this myself, and it's sometimes the browser does make it fillable, sometimes it doesn't. So the browser has to be up to date, and so is Adobe. Now, sometimes Adobe doesn't make it fillable and the browser does, or vice versa. So if it's not fillable, just make sure it's downloaded and try with your browser first, and then try with Adobe second. Okay, so sometimes you gotta take your time and figure out which browser is the correct one or which Adobe is the correct one. It's the software fighting against the documents. There's multiple companies all fighting for your time, so that's why it sometimes it's not working. It's working sometimes.
So anything that I send, whether they're fillable forms or documents or anything, I will send them to the division directors. I will ask them to trickle it down to the area directors and then down onto the clubs. I will get on that super fast because I know it takes a little bit of time for that channel of communication to occur, but that is the communication stream that the district is using this year, and I want to be very respectful of that. However, should you have absolutely burning, I need to know, or I cannot sleep one single wink tonight kind of questions regarding contests, please get in touch with us at contests@d42tm.org. I hope I got that right. And those questions will come to myself, Marvin, and Ryan, and we will, between us, make sure that we are very promptly answering those.
Saya, sorry, I have a suggestion for that. We have our brand new website and we have a tab called Online Resources. Okay. This could actually be posted right on our D42, so there's no wait time.
Okay, all right. I will work with Ryan on that then. Fantastic. Does anybody have any other question? Wow, it's been quite a bit of information, hey? But please let us know what you need, and that is the best way for the contest team to be able to meet the needs that your club requires. If we don't know, we cannot help you. So we'll do our best to make sure that we get all necessary information out to you, but help us help you by letting us know what you need as well.
Saya, you had mentioned that you wanted to answer Emma's question.
Oh yes, sorry, did I not? So she was talking about the breakout room and why we seem to be glossing over it. Breakout rooms are something that I know is concerning people because not everybody uses them. I will make sure that I think there is a place where you can find out how to create breakout rooms. I will definitely make sure that that link is available. Maybe Ryan put it up or somebody put it up there already. Please send an email and I can help with that completely. Today's training was supposed to be more of a get started planning your contest. And like Harvey said, there are a lot of people within clubs, within areas, within divisions who are very, very conversant in how to do all these tech-related things. And I myself will be going to a few of those people to help myself. But yeah, try network amongst yourselves. We do want folks to learn from each other and us. But absolutely, if you need help and you've asked around and you're still not clear, please get in touch with me and I will help you out.
Like I can expand that too. Like Harvey was saying, the best thing to do is claim the host key, be a host, and try it yourself. Once you claim the host key and become a host, you can create breakout room, assign people, open them up, close them. You know, people can leave and go big rooms. The only thing you cannot do is force one person to leave a room at a time. You gotta let them all go over or all come back.
Is there anything else?
What's your email, Saya?
Okay, so Ryan, can you put up the contest's email? If you send it to that, Edric, then it'll come to all three of us, Marvin, myself, and Ryan. So even if one of us isn't answering immediately, I still have the other two. But I'm going to try and have everybody use that particular email just so that I have all the contest things together in one place because I do receive a heck of a lot of emails daily, and I don't want to miss it out.
Thanks.
Sure. So it is contests with an S at the end at d42tm.org. So contests at d42tm.org. And I am very quick at answering emails, and so I will get back to you. Okay, I see a lot of thank yous in the chat box. You're most welcome. And if there is nothing else, I will pass it back to our distinguished Toastmaster, Program Quality Director, Ryan Rupchan.
Thank you so much, Saya. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Harvey. And most especially, thank you, everybody who came out to this session today. Lots of great questions that brought out a lot of learning for all of us. And we're going to take all those concerns and questions and help you have the best contest experience for this Toastmaster year, especially right now in fall. I'm really excited, and if we are planning on having this as a recording in the future as well, refer to some of those documents that Harvey had mentioned. We're going to put as many resources as we possibly can to help you out, and please reach out to us if we can. But overall, we're all learning here, so take the chance, experiment with your Zoom account, plan it all out. It's the Zoom contest experience is not much different from the in-person experience. We just need to model it in the virtual world. So if you know how to do contests in the in-person experience, just play with it to have some fun in the virtual world. Until next time, we'll see you soon.